Hello guys, welcome back. So in the previous video we looked at how to do our page events. So if we come back here to our page events, you'll notice that if you can recall whatever we did before, you'll notice that we created some pages and we did our page events from an API. So what we want to do, instead of getting our data from PHP inside, we now want to get our data outside PHP. Okay, so we want to get it with the API, and you're supposed to be getting something like this. So this is a response from our API, and we want to just go ahead and get our data. So I'm going to go to my page, which I'm going to be getting my data from, and I'm going to copy this, and this is my code. So I'm just going to paste it here. So I'm just going to change the name from this to code guy. So, and the table name should be the name of the table where I'm getting my data from. So for this one, it's going to be send invoice. So this is going to be holding the status of our response for this account. So remember, we did two transactions where we sent some data to my email. So if I reload this, I should be getting some data from the first email was this guy, and the next email was this rad with Wahome. So it gets the status here, which is pending, so it has not been paid. The advantages for this is we don't have to worry about listening for the payments. The API does it for us. So every time we navigate to this page, we should be getting these responses from the API in real time. So that's what we want. So all you need to do is look at the documentation of your application and of your API and see how they do it. So for my API right now, I'm being able to get my response from this. So all you need to do is know how the response comes back like. So my response comes like this with an object, and inside we have a data array. Okay, so first thing we need to do is go ahead and decode our work. So we need to do a decode. So once we are sure that this is working, so we need to do a JSON decode, where inside here we're going to be getting the response. So we're decoding the response, and you put a parameter of true. Great. So now at the bottom here we're going to create another variable and called final. So inside this final, this is where we're going to be passing our data objects. So generally this is what we want to do. So we have a response, and inside that response we also have something else. So we want to now pass in this variable which we just created here, which is now holding going to be the response. So if we come back here, you notice we have this response. So this is what we want to do. And then inside the response we can get this data array. So we need to now pass the response under that. Then outside here we are going to pass our data array. So I'm not making this up. So this is now this data, and this was this. Always remember to check the casing. Okay, good. So we have that. Now from there, the thing that remains is to now write a for each loop so that we can iterate through everything and get all our data coming down together. So we have to pass this variable which is holding our decode, and from here we now need to pass out our data. So we're going to come here and say we don't want this code to be, we don't want to echo and then keep doing some code iterations inside there. So we're going to write our code like this, and then down here we're going to close it so that we don't have to worry about anything. So inside here, this is where we're going to be displaying our data. So I'm just going to create a UL li, and then I'm going to close both of them. So this just displays them in a list. Okay, now if we come back to our code, now we are able to access any of these. Okay, we are going to be able to access any of these. So maybe we can check the description first. So we can copy this and come here and say we want to display the description. I'm going to come here and say PHP, and we need to echo. Okay, we need to echo this. So we're going to pass out this value. Just copy this value. We need to now echo out this value here, and we want to pass in the description there and display this. So if we save this and come back here, we need to see what we are just created. Good. So now you can see we have this documentation. You can also add something else. So you can also come here and say maybe we need to see the transaction status. So we can come here and pass out the status. Alright, so if we reload this project again, we should be getting this pending and this pending. So our code is ready to be put into our PHP period. So we come to PHP period and create a page which is called transaction invoice. Okay, so it's just a page I've created, it doesn't matter. So you can come here and get rid of everything. We don't need or any of that. So this cannot be deleted. So to delete it, you come here and put a model there, and now you can delete that model and you're left with an empty page. So we create a custom view page here, and we can keep that there. So we come down here and we drag and drop our code. So we can post our code, the one that we just created here. So it's just going to be this, control copy, and you're going to paste it here. So this is just going to make sure that we have our code displaying just fine there. Okay, so we don't need to now display this echo. This is the response that we were getting, so we no longer need to display it. So you can now come here and preview this page. Okay, so if we go to our delivery here, we have our transaction invoice, and here we go. So we are getting our response back just fine. So we're able to do that. Now the next thing we need to do is to maybe get rid of this. Don't want that. Now the next thing we need to do is take all this data and put it in a table. So I'm going to pause this video and I'm going to look for a template for a table and come back, and we are going to put it there. So hello guys, we have done that. So I've created a template for our code. So here we go. We have a template that's going to be displaying our code here. So this is just the template that we're going to be using to display our invoice details at the bottom here. So yeah, now let's go ahead and work on it. So I've added it in my code here, which is in our page design. And what you want to do is start by taking all this code from this point, take it all the way up to where we have this, just cut it, and we are going to also take it and put it at the bottom here, right before the table row. We're going to display it there. Now remember, the variable that we are using is this. We're using it like that, so we don't want this, so we no longer want this. And for this for each, we are going to take it and put it at the end of our table, or basically at the end of our table row, which is here. So PHP display there. So let's go ahead and confirm that this code is working. So let's see, in case we don't have any errors. So good. So now, as you can see, there are two of them because we have two transactions happening. So let's see what we get. We have table, T class, and other stuff. So yeah, so I'll pause this and check what the issue is, because they're supposed to be getting in one. Alright guys, so I checked in and now opened my code outside an external browser. So what I realized, the reason why we are getting this code like this is because the T head is inside our code. It's supposed to be outside the code. So we're going to take from where the body is, cut it from there, and put it outside the code like that. So let's see what we get. So if we reload this, good. So the transaction is there and the rest is here at the bottom. So let's go ahead and now write our code. So remember, we are using this value to get our data. So we're just going to check in just where we have. So here we go. We have this data. So I'm going to come here and say PHP echo. Remember, we are using this value. So we're going to say value, and because we are going to be needing this for several places, just copy this and put it here. Okay, so inside the value, so just copy all of it. And now let's go to our code response and see what we are getting in our response. So in our response, we have the business name, so we need the date, so we need the invoice date. So you're going to come back to my application here, and inside here we need the invoice date. All right, so let's save that. Now let's reload this code again. So we expect to be getting the dates for the two transactions right about here. So here we go. Now remember, these are datetime, and in PHP you already have a datetime function which can convert these to readable data. We're going to come here and you're going to say human date time, if that is how we write it, I guess. And then let's close it there, and let's see if we can get this to be working just fine. Okay, it says error, so let's see how we do it in PHP. So we just need to go to a certain page, we say like drivers page, and let's check for the default value, which is, sorry, not default value but list, and look for the format record, which is human date time. Okay, so it's human date time, like that. So if we come back here and reload our code, there we go. So we have this working just fine. Now we need a description here. Let's go back to our response, and you notice that now we have business name, invoice number, the description. So we need the description there. So we're just going to come back here, put the description, say description, like that. And now here we need the amount. Also, I'm also getting this amount from the response, so it's not something that I'm making up. So let's check where the amount is. Here it's going to be amount of 10, so we can get the status, or basically the response. So let's come here and say status, the amount also, that's January, whatever you need. Okay, so I'll show you why we have two things there, so don't worry about that. Good, so we have this, we have the transaction, we have the amount, we have all this stuff, we have the status, and that's it. So what we want to do is, we have red and green. So the red is when the payment is made, and for the green, the red is for when the payment is not yet made, and the green is when the payment is made. So I will want to check. So we want to come here where we have the amount here. So this is green. So we're going to come here and say PHP if, let's pause that. We're going to check if status is equals to okay, I did something wrong there. Yeah, so say if status, so you're checking for the status, so if for the status is equals to paid, then you want to get this response here. So we want to get the amount here. So we are checking if the status is made. So I want to get the amount right about there. So let's close this like that. So also, if the payment is not made, Okay, so this is for when the payment is made. So we get this plus and the amount. So if the amount is not paid, then we need to get a response. So we can also do that. So we can come here and say if the amount is pending, we want to get maybe this to be warning, like that. So let's see what we get here. Good, so there we go, we have that and we have this, so it's pending. So you can go ahead and do the rest for that. So you can also do this for these datasets. So for the sake of the length of the video, I'm going to pause and finish it. Alright guys, so I've done everything, so it's ready. So if the amount is confirmed to be paid, is going to be something. So there's something I've not really done, so which is here. Let me do. Alright guys, so I'm done with everything. So once we are here, you can now confirm that everything is just working just fine. So seems there's something that's not really there. So icon pin button. Alright, so here's the issue. There's the issue of not checked in. So we need this to be pending here, and we should get now a orange icon appearing at the top here. So this is some data from our API response. Now we want to take this data and put it in our code, the one that we just created, which is here. Let me go and put it. So we're going to put this code here, and we want to put this code here. So we're just going to come here and take everything from on top here, delete that. So we want to now go ahead and copy this code from here. So we want this code from here, and we need to go all the way up to where we have it ending there. So now come and paste this code here. So this is now your code. Now there's a button. You can always label them how you want them to be. It's really entirely up to you. So yeah, let me just check what we need to be having here. So this one is going to be recent, can call them your transactions. Right, so come here and preview this. Awesome, so now we have our data appearing here. So now this is like a component, so you can take it and put it in the front end. So if you come here and go back to your home page, which is in the front end page here, you can come and put it somewhere here on top. So you can come and say maybe at the bottom, let's try at the bottom here. You can come and create a new section and put this section somewhere here. Maybe let's give it a column D 8 and give it a header, and maybe not really a header, but we can just leave it at 8, and then come to where we have our deliver page and we need the transaction invoice here. So you can now come and preview these in your front end. So I'm just going to go here and display it in my front end, and you're going to be having these appearing on the left side. So you can call them my transaction. So as you can see, it's not really stretching all the way up to the end. That's because this is container. So we make it container fluid, and we can come here and say justify content start. So let's preview this again and see what we get. So there we go. We have our transactions on the left. They'll always be on the left there. You can also put them in a accordion. So I'm just going to come here and say I want this data, the one that I've just created, to be inside an accordion. So I'm just going to come here and pick an accordion that's going to be here, put it here, and you're going to do just like we did in the previous one. So we can get rid of that and take this and put it here. So we don't want this accordion to be open by default. It's going to be false. So here we're going to say payments. All right, so everything that's going to be inside my payments page, we can also go ahead and take this and look for a payment icon. It's going to be card, this, and come and preview this code again. Now let's reload one more time, and we're going to be having our payments right here. So there we go. So that was it for this video, guys. See you in the next one.